45, so I will call to order the June 1st, 2023 regular meeting of the Hendersonville City Council. We begin our meeting with a silent invocation for people to pray or meditate as they choose, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Rise. Thank you. You'll join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we open with up to about 15 minutes of public comment time. We have 10 people who have signed up. Is there anyone online seeking recognition to speak during public comment? If they would raise their hand, please.
No, Madam Mayor.
Don't see anyone? Okay. Well, with the number of people, we will have to limit it to about 90 seconds a person. Folks who are all talking on the same thing, if you would consolidate with one person as your spokesman, everyone would get a little bit more time. But the way it is, it will be 90 seconds. And we would ask that you come to the microphone and give your name and address for the clerk's record. So the first person is Tom Appleby.
Probably what you guys didn't know, that each transaction costs 35 cents. No one knew that when we got the kiosks, and it was $180 to have them fix their own machine. No one knew that. And there's no refunds. No one knew that. But we do know is there's a $50 increase on the tickets. And I know 2 store owners that got $50 tickets. So I guess you guys are happy ticketing the merchants on Main Street, because that's what you're doing. And the kiosks didn't go through the Historical Preservation Commission, so basically they went up illegally. If I was a citizen and wanted to do something on Main Street, I have to go before the Historical Preservation Commission. But the City Council doesn't need to do that when they want to put up kiosks and tax you on the street. 35 cents to goes to Georgia, to Park Mobile. Horrible. I'd like to present this to you, Barbara.
Okay.
I want you to show that to all the taxpayers.
All right. I think they saw.
And I would like to get 4 minutes, because your law in 2020 allows each person 4 minutes of public participation. I was the first person up on the podium. And if all these people wanted to talk to you, you should stay here till 2 in the morning. It's your job.
Thank you. Lyra Prickett.
Good afternoon. My name is Lyra Prickett, and I have a business in Hendersonville. Thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to speak. Now that we've heard from the various parties about the DEI program, I believe we can boil it down to one thing: identity. How do we want to identify as a community? You, as the City Council, have been charged with the stewardship of Hendersonville's identity. The funny thing about identity is that the way you define yourself, or your community in this case, has a lot to do with language. Language is everything. Every time I hear those supporting the DEI program, they say they're for inclusion and diversity and being open to other points of view, which is great. Me too. But what I hear is one side identifying as citizens of a place that is not inclusive and diverse and needs a program to make us so. Then there's the other side, the one to which I belong, that believes Hendersonville's citizens are already diverse and inclusive. I've heard a lot of references to things that have happened historically. Ms. Greer quoted Thomas Wolfe in her presentation, although she adjusted the quote to make the familiar point of the left about continuing to move forward. The problem is you can't move forward looking in the rearview mirror. Are you, as the City Council, choosing to identify Hendersonville as a 2023 community that can grow and learn from our present reality, or are you choosing to label us as a community identifying with past wrongs, trying to move forward while looking in the rearview mirror? I hope you'll be careful and consider the outcomes when choosing our identity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jeff Groh?
Good evening, Council. My name is Jeff Groh. I live in Fletcher. Thanks for the opportunity to speak again in your service to Hendersonville. I have read the 119-page plan from Akira. I have several observations beyond the fact that it costs you $1,235 a page. The report itself was broken into two major sections. The first 97 pages is the data that they collected from stakeholders. The last 22 pages presumably are solutions to the problems that they found. But I could find only one problem in the first 97 pages. On page 95, there are 6 strategic goals for your HR department. Not one of them is to hire the best qualified people for all open positions. That's a problem that's not even addressed. There are several recommendations in the last 22 pages. I could comment on many of them, but I'll highlight one on page 111 that states equality. I quote, "Equality refers to treating everyone the same, but does not necessarily lead to equitable outcomes." Unquote. In other words, this effort is not about equality of opportunity. It's about equality of results. That, folks, is communism. So I contend that the consultants' motivation here is either one, to promote Marxist ideology, and or two, to capitalize on cities like Hendersonville who are bending to the woke crowd. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Groh. Corinne Mandel?
Good evening. Corinne Mandel, City of Hendersonville. Headline, published today, June 1st, 2023. University of North Carolina Med School renounces its own DEI framework. UNC Medical School disbanded its Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force without implementing its recommendations, just months after banning DEI statements from admission, hiring, promotion, and tenure. Headline, published today, June 1st, 2023. Oregon County Commissioner rails against $800,000 proposed DEI budget. Clackamas County Commissioner Ben West, who happens to be gay, warned the DEI push is having negative outcomes across the country. Follow the money. Headline, published May 12, 2023. Donors flee from very disturbed university in Oklahoma amid radical DEI agenda, better named DIE. Headline, published March 30th, 2022. Top DEI staff at public universities pocket massive salaries as experts question motives of initiatives. Follow the money. People all around this country are starting to wake up as what this is all about. And what this is about is using racism to solve racism. Mark Twain says, if you put 100 black ants in a jar with 100 red ants, nothing will happen. If you shake the jar, the black ants will think the red ants are the enemy and attack them. Of course, the red ants will think the black ants are the enemy and will attack them. The real enemy is the one that shook the jar, but the ants do not know that. Kindly take your hand off the jar by canceling the Akira contract and disbanding the D&I committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff Silvius?
Hello, I'm Sheriff Silvius from Hendersonville. I just want to comment too about canceling the contract for DEI. I just traveled across the United States for 3 weeks. I've been in many different towns, cities across the United States, diversified, every one of them different, unique, special, just like Hendersonville. We do not need to all be the same. And this is what DEI is trying to do, is we want to equalize, we want everybody to be the same. Mrs. Roundtree, you are special and you are loved. Mrs. Hensley, you are loved. Mr. Conant, the same with you. Captain Myhand, he too is special. I am special. We are all special, but nobody should be lifted up above anybody else. I don't need my picture in anybody's window to feel accepted. And DEI, what it does is it puts people into groups and it pits people against one another, and we do not need that here. We've gone through the reports. We know that nothing was found. There's no reason why we can't stop the contract now. We can utilize that money towards other things. Right now, we have the other side of groups now coming against us because we're trying to stop the DEI from going forward. They're attacking us personally, not the ideology. That is the problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Handler Willis.
Good evening. I take this occasion to thank Mayor Vogt for the assurance she gave us after last meeting, saying that the diversity consultant's report would be used for reference, but she did not think they would enter into another contract with the diversity consultant. I think this is a good idea because the diversity consultant will certainly view Hendersonville as a marketing opportunity. I think it's fair to predict that they will come back and report discrimination. The basis of that report will be differential representation. The fact of the matter is, disproportionate representation has many causes. Cultural differences in the groups, attitude towards education, family structure. It's well known that Greeks are overrepresented in restaurant operators. People from India tend to gravitate to the hospitality hotel industry. Diamond merchants tend to be Orthodox Jews. But I also would make the comment that the diversity consultant is singularly unqualified to help minorities advance. I take this from the preliminary report they gave us where they downplayed the value of standard English. Being conversant in the language of opportunity and the culture in which you wish to participate and rise is absolutely essential, and to deny it or talk people out of it is doing them a great disservice. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Willis. Fred Hankinson? Yes. Okay.
Thank you very much for listening to me. I've lived here in Hendersonville for 5 years. Prior to that, I lived in Buncombe County for 25 years. Prior to that, I lived in 11 different states, 2 different countries. I did some research on DEI this other day, and I found out that in California, there's 9 University of California campuses, and there are 90 community colleges. All have been mandated to use DEI. And the DEI requires a person who is applying for a job to make a diversity statement. They're not judged on specific abilities of experience. They're judged on what they answer. For example, if they answer or make a statement something like, well, the BLM has caused a lot of problems and cost a lot of money, they wouldn't get the job. So unfortunately, DEI has to be something that we have to get rid of. I hope that you all would really consider very much what DEI is. What is the motivation by DEI? What are they trying to do? What kind of control are they exuding? What is the nature of it? So I really appreciate if you would really look into that in detail. Thank you.
Thank you. Kay Youngblood.
Good evening. My name is Kay Youngblood, 53 Lands End Drive, Hendersonville. As a citizen and native of Hendersonville, North Carolina, I want to express my appreciation to the Hendersonville City Council for your support of the Henderson County Walk of Fame and the People's Museum. Over the last few months, the Walk of Fame has been locating and gathering priceless artifacts which will be installed in the museum this summer. These artifacts, along with the other installments in both the People's Museum and the Walk of Fame, will help tell the story of all members of our community and the contributions they have made to better life for all of our residents. Thank you for recognizing the importance and maintaining the history of our citizens and making these museums possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Virginia Takel?
Good evening. My name is Virginia Teagle, and I'm speaking to you as a city resident, homeowner, and taxpayer. First, I would like to read to you the mission statement for the City of Hendersonville. The City of Hendersonville is committed to providing quality, efficient services to all citizens, visitors, and businesses through open communication, timely responses, and quality results. I want to thank you for your service, dedication, and countless hours spent doing good work for our community. All services that I needed once purchasing my home were promptly and professionally provided. In particular, I want to thank you for your efforts to protect our natural resources, hiring the sustainability manager, creating the Sustainable Hero Award, and supporting the inaugural Hendo Earth Fest. The City Council and professional staff have fostered an attractive and positive work environment, recruiting and retaining, that's important, well-qualified staff. I also support efforts to include all community members so that we will continue to develop and maintain a vibrant and healthy community. As a teacher, special ed teacher, I once heard a really great analogy. You're in a classroom, you have a student that needs CPR, but you've got to be fair. You have to give CPR to all the students, and then you might get to the one that actually needs it. Same is not fair, fair is not same. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Teagle. Lynn Williams?
Hi, how's it going? Just some of these things. Thank you for your time. So I want to put this up here. This might look familiar. I want to start.
If you could give your name and address for
Sure.
the clerk's record, please.
Sure. Lynn Williams, Chadwick Avenue. I wanted to start by honoring a good friend of ours, Renegade, who transitioned in the past 2 weeks. And as you know him, he would come to many of these meetings. And he put a lot of time and energy towards fighting for animal crossings in the city and tree protections and animal protections. He spent hours and hours with me in meetings with you here on these matters, and these things really mattered to him because he actually taught me how to value these things. He was a very kind spirit, and he taught me how to love animals and how to respect animals, and I just want to take a minute to honor him. And once again, I do want to give my support of the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Thank you for that. And I'm even concerned about the microfinancing, to still have that oversight for that vendor DEI consideration before choosing that vendor. I only have 10 seconds left. I'm just concerned about some of the committee appointments. John Falvo, for the Historic Preservation Commission, and I wasn't sure if Beth Robertson was the wife or relative of the planning board chair, and if so, then that might be a conflict. I'm also just concerned about retaliation that I've received by the staff and the administration that I've brought to your attention many times, and I hope we can resolve this as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams, and I'm very sorry about Rennie. Okay. Consideration of the agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to have added to or removed from the agenda for this evening?
Madam Mayor, I move the City Council approve the agenda as presented.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Not. Those in favor of the agenda as presented, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. Ayes have it, and we have our agenda. The consent agenda, is there anything anyone would like to have moved from the consent agenda to the regular agenda so it can be discussed? If not, a motion to approve.
Madam Mayor, I move that the City Council approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there any discussion? Not. Those in favor of approving the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it, and those items have been approved. All right, we have a couple presentations. First of all, it is Pollinator Month, and who's going to get this? Somebody has to come up here.
Virginia's gonna come get it.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. I don't want to stand up all by myself.
See? Perfect.
All right. Very good. Okay. Whereas pollinators such as bees and the monarch butterfly are essential partners in producing much of our food supply and maintaining a healthy, diverse ecosystem with many species critical to the existence of humankind. And whereas the city of Hendersonville is deeply concerned about the decline of the monarch butterfly population due to the eastern population having fallen by as much as 90%, due in part to summer breeding habit loss. And whereas the city of Hendersonville and surrounding communities have a critical role to play to help protect, preserve, and save the monarch butterfly and other pollinators through public and private action and by educating residents about their cultural significance to ensure a sustainable environment. And whereas pollution plays a vital role for the trees and plants of our community, enhancing our quality of life and creating recreational and economic development opportunities. And whereas the city of Hendersonville recognizes the importance of creating monarch, bee, and other pollinator habitats at parks, gardens, and other green spaces that every member of our community can equally enjoy. And whereas the city of Hendersonville core values and beliefs states that environmental sustainability is critical to preserving the community for future generations. And whereas the city of Hendersonville provides recommendations to developers and all residents regarding landscaping to promote wise conservation stewardship, including the protection of pollinators and maintenance of their habitats. And whereas the city of Hendersonville is aware that when local governments speak up and take action, our communities notice. Now, therefore, I, Barbara Revolt, Mayor of the city of Hendersonville, an affiliate of Bee City USA, do urge all citizens to recognize the observation of Pollinator Month and commit to help restore habitat for the monarch butterfly, bees, and other pollinators within the city of Hendersonville, and encourage our residents to do the same. So,
Thank
all right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And we have a presentation this evening from Hands On. Mr. Knight.
Good evening, honorable members of the Hendersonville City Council. My name is Joseph Knight, and I serve as the Director and Chief Executive Officer of Hands On Children's Museum. I stand before you today to express sincere thanks and appreciation for your support of the People's Museum and Walk of Fame project. As you know, this project is of great cultural and historical significance to our community as we strive to make Hendersonville an even greater place to live, work, and play. Hands On successfully completed a major fundraising campaign in 2021 during the COVID-19 pandemic to renovate the west wing of its building, which is home to the People's Museum and Walk of Fame. Thanks to the support from the city of Hendersonville, we were able to fundraise a total of $165,952 to complete the People's Museum and Walk of Fame project. I'm happy to share that the People's Museum Walk of Fame officially opened to the public about a year ago now, June 4th, 2022. I'm pleased to share with you tonight that as we approach our one-year anniversary for the People's Museum and Walk of Fame, over 55,342 visitors have experienced the People's Museum and Walk of Fame and Hands On Children's Museum. And of this total, 43% of those visitors were from Hendersonville and Henderson County. I'm also pleased to share with you that the museum's total estimated local economic impact for its first year of full operation post the completion of our expansion and development of the People's Museum Walk of Fame totals approximately $2.4 million. In addition to the People's Museum and Walk of Fame exhibits, which are very immersive and tell the unique story of the culture and history of Hendersonville and Henderson County, we also have a wide variety of unique programs and events that happen all throughout the year at the People's Museum and Walk of Fame. And I have a couple of photos I'd like to show you of some of these events. Visitation for the People's Museum and Walk of Fame really runs the spectrum from very young children to high school children to single adults. And the programs that we've been able to offer have been very unique, have been very immersive, and have involved a lot of local members from our community. So, for example, one of the great programs that we were able to offer last year was a celebration of the Dia de los Muertos holiday, the Day of the Dead. We created a community ofrenda that celebrated and honored the legacies of locals and also national figures who fought for equality within the People's Museum and Walk of Fame. This pop-up exhibit was open for a little over a month and was an awesome way to raise awareness of Latinx heritage throughout the city and throughout the county. In addition to this unique experience, we also had a celebration of Kwanzaa inside the People's Museum and Walk of Fame. And we have a local volunteer, Crystal Coley, who's a big friend to the People's Museum, do unique story time and actually led us through the history of the Kwanzaa holiday, which was really enriching for all of our visitors. And we also received some regional news and coverage as well for this. In addition to that, we had a wonderful month-long celebration of Black History Month within the People's Museum Walk of Fame earlier this year. We had a local African storyteller and drummer do several presentations for us, and children actually had a chance to practice their own drumming skills, in addition to learning about the great contributions African Americans have made locally and regionally to history. In addition to that, we've also offered celebrations to honor the Juneteenth holiday as well. And I'm pleased to report that we'll be celebrating Juneteenth again here at the People's Museum and Walk of Fame. As we enter the third year of our funding agreement with the City of Hendersonville, I respectfully request the Hendersonville City Council to consider approving annual funding for totaling $42,000 as indicated in our funding agreement to sustain the People's Museum and Walk of Fame. In addition to supporting the operating costs, which supports only the monthly lease payments for the People's Museum Walk of Fame space, the city funding that we receive is also used to leverage other funding sources to support the museum. So to dive a little bit deeper into this, for every $1 of city support that we receive, Hands-On is able to leverage an additional $19.37 through other revenue sources, both earned and contributed. City funding also promotes confidence and credibility with other public and private funding sources, resulting in improved physical sustainability for our institution. The public-private partnership between Hands-On and the great city of Hendersonville continues to be key to our continued success. And studies have shown that many museums are successful, have public-private partnerships with their local government agencies, or government organizations. As we enter the new fiscal year, I'm pleased to share that in partnership with NASA and the National Informal Science Education Network organization and the North Carolina Science Network, the People's Museum and Walk of Fame will display a traveling exhibit entitled Earth, Sun, and Universe from August through December of this year. This exhibit will explore the history and wonders of the space sciences, in addition to showcasing the history of NASA's Hidden Figures, a team of African-American female scientists who helped us send the human to the moon. Museums are always growing and evolving to better meet the needs of their community. And I'm pleased to share that during the next fiscal year, we look forward to incorporating new displays that celebrates accomplishments from local people of color from Hendersonville and Henderson County that are not currently on display within the museum. We invite our community to contact us anytime should they have any suggestions for any oral histories that could be displayed within the People's Museum and Walk of Fame. On behalf of the children we serve, I thank you for your continued support and partnership with our institution. It is because of your leadership, demonstrated financial support from the city of Hendersonville, that Hands-On continues to grow and thrive within this great community. And with that said, I'm happy to answer any questions that the council may have about the People's Museum Walk of Fame initiative or Hands-On Children's Museum in general.
Anyone have a question?
I have a question. When you mentioned the dollar leverage to 19, can you give an example specifically of like what program that you're using to leverage that additional funding?
So what we do is the funding that supports the People's Museum Walk of Fame supports part of the lease cost for the space. And because we receive that funding from the city, we're able to leverage that to raise other funding sources. So for example, if we're pursuing a grant opportunity to develop an exhibit or a program, we're able to say that our local city is already providing us with X amount of dollars so that we can operate the People's Museum Walk of Fame. And with your additional support, we can also provide this program, exhibit, if you will, to further enhance the experience.
So does the city, are they paying the $42,000, is that specifically for that entire space? Because I think you said a partial space or partial rent, so is it all the rent or?
It's for half of the rent.
Okay. What is so 42,000 divided by 2 is, I don't know, 21,000, so what is the other 21,000?
Oh, I think there's a misunderstanding.
Yes, I'm
So
sorry.
the 42,000 total represents half of the annual rent that we pay for the Unit 1 portion of our building,
Okay.
which houses our main entrance and the People's Museum and Walk of Fame. The other half of that rent we raise from other sources.
Okay,
So the city's only supporting half of that.
okay, half of the space. And then what is the plan for funding after this contribution period ends with the city of Hendersonville?
So we have a 5-year agreement that, of course, is renewed for years 3, 4, and 5. You know, we're just now approaching our 1-year mark of being fully reopened, and we have exceeded, our goals for admissions forecasts for the museum. And as we continue to build capacity over the next few years, we look forward to enhancing the People's Museum and Walk of Fame and being even in the more greater fiscally stable condition.
Okay.
Thank you for your question.
Other questions?
Can we pull the pictures back up? The slideshow? Go backwards. I think it was like the second picture. The one that has the Wall of Fame in it. There's a bunch of kids looking at the Wall of Fame. Oh, you have it. Sorry.
I can make that happen.
So if you would take a moment and explain what those kids are looking at for the people that are watching online, the people that are here, because I don't think everybody knows what that is.
Sure. So we have a Walk of Fame that exists in an outside environment currently. And when we developed the People's Museum concept, we decided that it made sense to also incorporate the Walk of Fame within the People's Museum. So this photo that we're looking at right now are the inductees for the Henderson County Walk of Fame. So you have the photos, the names, and the bios of these local citizens who have made great contributions to Hendersonville and Henderson County. So that is what that picture is displaying currently. And the Walk of Fame inducts new individuals into this program on an ongoing basis. And the People's Museum and Walk of Fame has adequate space to accommodate that growth for many years to come.
Thank you.
Other questions? No? All right. Thank you for the presentation. Council?
Thank you, City Council.
Madam Mayor, I move the city council allocate $42,000 to support Hands-On Gallery, a child's gallery, People's Museum, and the Walk of Fame.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Not. Those in favor of the allocation say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it, and you're set for another year. We
Thank you very much for your support. And
look forward to another report a year from now.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have several public hearings this evening. The first is budget adoption fiscal year 2024. Mr. Condit?
About to spend $50 million, certainly somebody wants to stay and watch this.
We're getting to the boring stuff, they're leaving.
Mayor, Vogt, members of the City Council, it's my pleasure to present the FY 23-24 budget. I would say that this is the most important action that we take every year, and I think it's important that we take time to go through the budget so that our citizens that are left have an opportunity to see how we're going to spend their tax dollars in our community. Remind City Council and our community of our vision and our mission. Ms. Teagle read one of these earlier, and I believe it was the mission statement, and the vision is that we're going to be a vibrant mountain city where the government and citizens work together for a high quality of life. We build our budget around these two statements as we proceed, as well as your goals and objectives and your value statements. Your FY24 budget in total is presented on the screen here. You will see the total budget is $56,105,936 total budget. 46, the largest portion is your general fund, which is your general tax dollars and sales tax. The next largest portion is your water and sewer fund, which is about 43.25%. And then you have several smaller funds that you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen that makes up the rest of the pie. Again, the largest expenditures and largest funds include the general fund, which make up approximately $25 million of your budget. Water and sewer, $24 million. Environmental services, 1.8, and stormwater, 1.5, and then several smaller funds as you go down for a total of $56 million. Reviewing your budget in total, this is a property reevaluation year, appraisal, as everybody is aware of. Your budget funds future capital as well as operating services in our community. We are presenting a 3% COLA and a 2% 401k match, which would be a benefit enhancement to our team members in the community. Merit pay would be based on your merit system, evaluation system, performance evaluation, ranging from 1% to 2.25% and 3.5% for our highest achieving team members. Our health insurance is, we have no increase. Over the last 4 years, we've either had no increase or we've had some decreases. So we're pretty pleased with how we're handling our health insurance program. That is not adding additional costs to our taxpayers and our ratepayers in the community. Retirement program is a defined benefit program which is managed by the North Carolina State Treasurer's Office. We are seeing rate increases to increase the contribution from the city on behalf of our employees. For law enforcement officers, 14.10% of their salary is provided by us as the employer on their behalf, and for non-law enforcement, it's 12.85%. Those percentages are set by the State Treasurer's Office and are outside of our control. We had 52 positions requested in this year's budget process. We are only recommending 15, and those 15 will go toward enhancement of services. They include such things as including folks, additional folks to work in our parks, as park maintenance and park enhancement is the #1 priority of the city council. So we have 4 individuals included in that. We also have traffic folks, a new law enforcement officer, and several other positions throughout the 15 total. Your tax rate, as part of the general fund, we are proposing a tax rate of 49 cents per $100. Your revenue neutral rate, if you look to the right, as part of reval, our tax base is now at $2.89 billion. It's an increase of $602 million over the reevaluation period 4 years ago. Your revenue neutral rate is just under 42 cents per $100. Therefore, we are proposing 49 cents per $100, which is a 3-cent decrease on the tax rate from our current rate at 52 cents. You can see there that our revenues total about $23,260,070. Expenditures, $25,834,40, $588. We have some other financing of $40,000. We are proposing to appropriate fund balance to balance the budget of just over $2.6 million. Your fund balance at the start of the year is currently $11 million, and in budgetary terms, your fund balance, if we use all of that appropriated fund balance, will decrease to $8.3 million. However, we budget very conservatively, and we anticipate that only for the current year, we only anticipate using $650,000 of that fund balance appropriation. So you will continue to, at the end of the year, have a substantial fund balance, or will meet our goal of 25%. You will stay at 26.78%, or over $10 million in fund balance. So continue to have a healthy balance there, rainy day for those unforeseen projects, or if there's an emergency, we'll have that money available to you. In your firefighter, things that are driving the need for the tax rate at 49 cents, we are taking 100% of the cost of 12 firefighters we've hired over the last 4 years. We received a SAFER grant several years ago, and that grant has now ended, so we have 100% cost for those 12 firefighters. We're adding 6.5 FTEs on the general fund side, 0.5 in finance, 5 in public works, and 1 in HPD. Yes, sir.
Can you just explain to everybody what FTE means?
Full-time equivalent employees. Sorry. Thank you. You can see the operating budget, our pay-go, or capital that we pay with cash. We are taking a loan out for vehicles. We have a replacement cycle for our police fleet, so we'll replace 7 HPD vehicles. We'll also have 2 fire department vehicles, and replacing self-contained breathing apparatus for the fire department, as well as some public works vehicles to maintain that fleet. Taking on debt service there at $1.26 million includes renovations to City Hall and in this facility, the construction of Fire Station 1, Edwards Park. We will be receiving delivery of a new ladder truck. There was apparatus that will replace a 20-year-old ladder apparatus that we currently have, as well as replace one of our engines in the fire department. So that is the major expenditures in your general fund. This slide just depicts where we are as it relates to tax rate among our peers. You will see we are very much in the middle, or slightly below the middle there at 49 cents. At the current tax rate, as we know of many of our peers across the community. These cities are full-service municipalities that we would consider peers and are very comparable to us. So we feel like from a peer standpoint and from an economic development standpoint, we are very competitive as we're looking to recruit industry and for people to keep the tax rate within reason across the state of North Carolina. Provide you information regarding your Main Street Municipal Service District. Tax rate at 0.21 cents per $100. Your revenue neutral, or your reval this year, our Main Street or district grew by about $22.5 million. It's now up to $141.6 million of value in our municipal service district. Your revenue neutral here was just at 20 cents, so we're very close to that revenue neutral there. You'll see 21.100. It's a slight 3-cent decrease there as it relates, because the current rate is at 24 cents. So we're decreasing your Main Street rate by 3 cents. your major expenditures, we will be beginning the process of hiring a public works crew to focus on Main Street. Our current contractor will be retiring in the next couple of years, and we're beginning to want to focus 2 individuals in the Main Street area for cleanliness, to help with a variety of items of maintenance. And because we do know that Main Street, our municipal service district there, is probably our most visited and most active park in the city. We're also purchasing software to be able to track where visitors are coming from in our community, increasing our wayfinding signage, replacing, and you have your operating budget there. Total revenues just over $626,830. With your expenditures, we're proposing to use $130,000 in fund balance to balance the budget, but you have a very healthy fund balance in the MSD, 185. If we spend all that again, which will be very much unlikely, we will end the year at $54,000. At the end of the year, we're proposing that we'd only spend $9,800, so your fund balance will remain healthy at $175,900. 7th Avenue is our second municipal service district. Again, the tax rate will be 21 cents per $100, which will make, for the first time since the existence of the 2 municipal service districts, both funds will have the same tax rate, which has been a goal of the City Council to equalize those rates. In the 7th Avenue district, actually they had a decline in their valuation over the last 4 years. It declined by $1.5 million. So their total value is $24.7 million. That can be attributed to the loss of some personal property at a business along Locust Street. The revenue neutral rate is 19 cents there, but we're proposing a rate of 21 cents to equalize it. That will be a 4-cent tax increase on the municipal service district on the 7th Avenue. We had the conversation with the stakeholders in the 7th Avenue area. They are aware of that and understand and agreed with the proposed budget. Your revenue is $118,400. You see your expenditures at $181,843, appropriating $63,000 in fund balance. You see your start and finish based on conservative budgeting. However, we do anticipate that we will increase the fund balance at the end of the year, and your estimated total fund balance will grow to $151,194. Continue to be healthy. Those funds will be available for other projects in the 7th Avenue area as we move forward with the streetscape project. Your water and sewer fund, we'll see revenues anticipated increase with rate increases, approximately 11.5% increases. Some high points there is your total revenues is $23,876,650. Expenditures $23,576,088. You have the other financing in only $388,000 from a fund balance appropriation. You see the start and the finish from the fund balance from a budgetary standpoint. Not significant difference. You can see very, very little use of fund balance for this year in that fund at healthy. We did a water rate study, and we were proposing 11% on the water side, a sewer charge revenue increase of 12%. However, we are establishing a new tier. It's called a lifeline tier in our rate structure, and believe that most of our residential customers will actually see a decrease in their water bills on a monthly basis, particularly those folks that use less than 3,000 gallons. The tier system is for those folks that are not large water users. They will see some savings there, which will include our single family and lower income households. But we do believe that most of our residential customers will see a decrease in their monthly bills. We will be discussing system development charges during the upcoming year for a mid-year implementation that will help fund our capital improvement program. We also continue to meet our obligation to Henderson County, where we agree to equalize our water and sewer rates. You see where the differential is now 130%. down 5%. Major expenditures are 6.5 full-time equivalent personnel. 2.5 of that will be in the finance. Those 2.5 two of those positions will be focused on customer service and working with our customers to detect leaks and to do those day-to-day customer service items. We're including 1 engineering position and 3 line maintenance employees to continue to work to reduce leaks and also provide high-quality service when we're installing taps and other line improvements as our economy continues to grow. You see the operating budget at $7.6 million. Our pay-as-you-go cash capital at $795. We have $589 that will transfer for vehicle purchases. Every year we allocate $100,000 to our capital reserve fund for those unexpected projects that may come along as it relates need for extension of water and sewer lines for either economic development projects, affordable housing projects. That money is available in a reserve fund that we can tap into to fund projects that may come along unexpected. You have a debt service increase. So we just issued a revenue bond of $663,000 for debt service. Fund balance the fund balance analysis is not as important on the utility fund as it is on the general fund. However, more important here is looking at your bond covenants. We have had our rate consultant look at our bond covenants, and you can see we anticipate, based on this budget, we will continue to meet our bond covenant to meet obligations to our bond holders as part of the utility system. So we feel we're in good financial shape and continue to be in good financial shape for your water and sewer fund. Your parking fund is a new fund this year. As we've heard tonight, we've established parking. And so this fund all revenue from our on-street parking and parking deck goes into a fund that funds nothing but parking assets and parking enforcement and parking maintenance. It is not diverted into the general fund to fund any other function. So you can see your parking fund budget there. We anticipate it being very healthy as we move forward. This is the first year you'll see there. Again, we have money set aside for parking lot striping, de-icer for the top of the parking deck. You have $157,000 operating budget and the initial debt service on your parking deck of $812,000 per year. Yes, sir.
The operating budget, can you go back to parking? Just so everybody know, what does operating budget for parking mean?
So it includes, and I'll ask Brian and Adam to help me, it includes, we're paying for parking enforcement. We also are paying for we pay a portion of our parking, our Public Works Department as it relates to.
So that's going to be all in personnel. Within the operating budget is mostly repairs and maintenance. So some things that will be happening are like protective coatings for graffiti on the parking deck, making sure the joints are all properly maintained. So repairs and maintenance is about $60,000 of that. And then you also have the software costs associated with keeping up the software associated with the parking meters and the gate technology and things like that.
Thank you.
Your stormwater fund, we're proposing to increase the stormwater rates by $1. Increase it from $5 to $6. Also, the cap for our larger stormwater users, I would guess would be the best way to say it, are folks that provide the greatest impact on stormwater system, is going up from $250 to $300. It's a $50 increase per month there, and it's a 20%. We did propose a higher rate increase in the your business advisory committee felt like it was too large, and so we reduced it based on their recommendation down to $6 and the $300 cap. You see your revenues there of about $1.2 million, expenditures $1.3, other financing sources of about $153,000. We're estimating a fund balance appropriation of just over $266,000. Again, this fund is healthy. in conservative budget, feel like it's in good shape. We'll provide $100,000 to handle stormwater improvements on 7th Avenue, $100,000 in general infrastructure repairs and improvements, $150,000 in green infrastructure and right-of-way, and then $167,000 in general operating, which includes our staff and other items associated with the stormwater program. This does not include a significant amount of grant dollars that have been obtained in the stormwater department to fund projects. They have exceeded over $3 million in grants. So that is money that will not be, projects we will take on but will not be provided by our stormwater customers. Environmental Service Fund, here is our solid waste fund. This is the fund that funds our solid waste collection, green waste collection, recycling. We are proposing a $3 increase there to $23 for a 32-gallon container, $25 for a 96-gallon. We're seeing increases in our brush and leaf grinding as we pick up green waste on a weekly basis. We'll be doing a rate study of our city to try to find some efficiencies. We're seeing an increase in tipping fees. We also understand that we expect, I'll just put it out there that I expect tipping fees to continue to increase because of costs associated at our transfer station and former landfill that is operated by Henderson County. We will replace some leaf equipment as well as a solid waste truck, and that is part of the vehicle and equipment line there. And we're proposing to appropriate $62,000 in fund balance. You will see here in the budget that was published, or in the fee schedule that was published, there was an error. It showed the rates for 2023. This slide will show the corrected rates, which is a $23 per cost for the 32-gallon and $25 cost for the 96-gallon. So as we adopt the budget, we ask that you adopt the budget with the fee schedule as presented tonight. Budget in total, final slide here. You see the budget again brings us back to $56,105,936. In total budget, there's again several other funds, smaller funds there that we will not cover, but are basically internal service funds. I do believe that this budget is balanced. I know that this budget is balanced in accordance with the Local Government Fiscal Control Act. It has been developed in accordance to that general statute. It has been advertised for a public hearing. I would like to thank the staff, the budget staff, and the department heads that have been involved. This is a lengthy process. We began this back in November and December, and here we are on June 1st. So we have presented the budget. I stand by to answer any questions you have. And again, thank you to Adam and Jenny, and under the leadership of Assistant City Manager Brian Polly.
All right. Questions? No questions? All right. Thank you. Okay. This is a public hearing. Madam Clerk, has this public hearing been advertised in accordance with general statutes?
Yes, Mayor, it has.
Thank you. We will open this public hearing. Would anyone like to comment on the proposed FY24 budget? If so, come up to the microphone. Come up to the microphone, please. And again, just give your name and address for the clerk's record.
Thank you. All right, thank you for your time. Lynn Williams, Chadwick Avenue. I want to start by saying thank you for not raising the fees and charges for the cemetery plots at Oakdale Cemetery. Thank you. Renegade and I spent many hours here at public comment, environmental sustainability board meetings, and subcommittee meetings, plus animal advisory committee meetings, in effort for wildlife crossing and protections within our city. And we haven't had much luck, but I still want to push for that. So when we talk about the budget, I just want to bring to awareness that there's millions of dollars for wildlife crossing funding now that we could tap into, like they're doing with stormwater. And while you're redoing the sidewalks and the roads, it's a consideration because the culverts and the things that cross under are those crossings. So if you're doing them anyways, you might be able to tap into some great funding. Another point is I'm noticing, that we're going to be the city's going to be buying a lot of vehicles for our service, fire and police, as well as public works. And I just want to, continue to push working with our sustainability manager on a sustainable fleet conversion now. As we're buying these vehicles, it's the time. Just wanted to promote that and decision-making for maybe buying some of these vehicles. I didn't see any funding for Boyd Park Memorial or the recreation installation potential there. I know there's some talks for some funding potentially in HPC, but I just didn't see that anywhere in the budget, and that still matters to me and friends of Boyd Park and Laura Ecorn Mini Golf. And then lastly, I was just going to express, not raising the taxes for 7th Avenue district there, since it's historically been struggling as a district, and maybe to work with the friends of the district or utilize some of the Main Street parking fees and tickets to cover the gap in funding. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Is there anyone else present who wishes to comment? Is there anyone online seeking recognition?
No, Madam Mayor.
Madam Mayor, I will say Ken Finch had his hand raised, but he disappeared. Is that, he was there, so he's coming back, so I just don't want to neglect.
He did just rejoin.
But his hand is
Do you
not
wish to
raised.
comment?
He
does.
Yes.
Ken Fitch, 1046 Patton Street. Sorry, the Wi-Fi went out. The preparation of a budget is a formidable task, and this presentation of a balanced budget is an extraordinary achievement. And one need only look at Brian Polly's face during budget workshops to understand the difficulty and stress of the task as changes are registered, calculated, and balanced. Adam Murr said that budget is an art and a science. But in his case, it also entails a bit of wizardry. However, amidst the parade of figures in this complex, massive document, one cannot ignore a troubling fact. The city departments have requested 52 additional positions, but there are only 15 recommended. That is a problem. That is a big problem. We have an extraordinary staff. Every month we honor staff members for service above and beyond the call of duty. And it reflects not just a commitment to their job, but a commitment to the community of which they are a part. The original budget proposal included a 5% COLA for their exceptional service. However, through the budgeting process, this was reduced to 3%. In order to achieve a balance to minimize the tax rate impact on already severely overburdened taxpayers. And tax rate is a real concern for all, including resident employees. To address the COLA decrease impact, there will be the merit pay adjustment. However, there's a problem here. In situations where staff is stressed and overextended, the capacity to continue a sustained level of merit quality of achievement can be compromised. Indeed, the DEI survey identified budget and staffing as major stressors. And one is mindful here of the council priority area of concern: to retain employees and provide a salary level needed to support family. There is a further issue here, controversial to be sure. The list of core values states, the city of Hendersonville believes that it must pursue and provide opportunity for responsible growth. And we recognize that a substantial segment of the residents would not support that value given the character and intensity of the development now occurring, that many feel impacts their quality of life. And this is also reflected in the commonly stated concern to retain the small town character of the city, which you hear often. The problem is that following this growth directive, with the character and intensity of the development occurring, there will be a need for increased services, including increased capital expenditures and staffing. And the survey has found that in many cases, the cost of services outpaces the tax revenue from, say, residential development. So if we are in a situation now with the less requested staff, going forward, we may find ourselves in a desperate catch-up phase with inadequate staffing to meet future needs in ways similar to the high-quality service our distinguished staff now provide. It is a situation we must not ignore. But given this caution, we did arrive this week with this balanced budget. Until, of course, we were surprised with this last-minute request for $42,000. And poor Brian Polly probably had indigestion after his fabled 1174 Mountain Deli lunch when confronting this new situation. But I'm sure we will solve that problem, as they always do, quite amazingly. So immediately, for the moment, we are at a point in time with a balanced budget. But going forward, we may face an imbalanced situation. And that is a concern that affects our most valued resource, and that is our staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fitch. Is there anyone else present or online who wishes to comment on the proposed budget?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay. In that case, we will close this public hearing. Council?
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget ordinance, capital reserve fund ordinance, resolution of intent to follow the CIP, and the rate schedule as proposed in the meeting tonight. Resolution authorizing increase in micro purchase threshold, capital project ordinance CPO VE024, and reimbursement resolution for CPO VE024 as presented.
Is there any discussion? Not? Those in favor of the budget adoption fiscal year 24 say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it. We have our budget for the next year. And again, thank you to all the staff that put in many, many hours in this project.
I think we should buy Adam a wizard hat.
All right, next public hearing is regarding an annexation, Clear Creek Road, C2330 ANX. Sir, Mr. Morrow.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of City Council. The city is in receipt of a contiguous annexation petition. At the May 4th regular meeting of City Council, you all accepted the city clerk's certificate of sufficiency for this petition. The annexation petition was submitted by John Conant, the city manager of the city of Hendersonville, on behalf of the city of Hendersonville. The annexation is for 2 parcels to be annexed, which are approximately 26.76 acres, and they are along Clear Creek Road. The map on the right of the screen will show you a red line that depicts where the current city limits are. The properties proposed to be annexed are parcels slated to be included in the Clear Creek Greenway expansion. I have both a motion for approval and denial. Also, the annexation plat, if you all would like to see that, and I'll be happy to answer any questions y'all may have.
Are there any questions? Okay. Madam Clerk, has this public hearing been advertised in accordance with general statutes?
Yes, Mayor, it has.
We'll open that public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak regarding this annexation on Clear Creek Road? Anyone here? Is there anyone online wishing to speak?
Yes, Madam Mayor, there's one hand raised.
Okay.
Ken Fitch, you are unmuted.
Ken Fitch, 1046 Patton Street. Although this may seem a perfunctory have a lovely day proposal, the action is important and significant, as it extends full city jurisdiction to an essential component of city infrastructure and natural resource connectivity in an essential natural corridor. Well, within this corridor is the location of the proposed greenway expansion, an upgrade in sewer capacity, and an important opportunity for stream and streambank restoration. And with the full resources of the city and its municipal standing, the area achieves a stronger position for future sustainability. The larger area here experienced major environmental trauma. And with city jurisdiction, one would look forward to restorative actions, buffering and habitat considerations, and all of which would be facilitated by this action. There are major future considerations that may become relevant and in view of the county plans for its gravity sewer line and the upstream development it may facilitate, along with a recent Supreme Court decision that may affect stream quality and associated impacts. We are fortunate to have exceptional staff to guide us and sometimes wade us through the changes and issues we confront. And their exceptional stewardship will now extend to this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fitch. Is there anyone else who wishes to comment on this annexation?
No, Madam Mayor.
Anyone here? We will close that public hearing. Council?
Madam Mayor, I move City Council adopt an ordinance of the City of Hendersonville to extend the corporate limits of the city as a contiguous annexation to annex that property owned by the City of Hendersonville, identified as pins 9569-89-2546 and 9569-99-14449, finding that the standards established by North Carolina General Statute 160A31 have been satisfied and that the annexation is in the best interest of the city.
Is there any discussion? Not. Those in favor of the annexation on Clear Creek Road, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it, and we have taken care of that annexation. Another public hearing, Blue Ridge Conference Center annexation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the city is in receipt of a different annexation petition. This one is for a satellite annexation. At the May 4th regular meeting of City Council, you accepted the certificate of sufficiency for this petition. The annexation petition was submitted by the property owners, which are Asheville Industrial Owner LLC and Asheville Industrial Owner 2 LLC. The annexation application is for 5 parcels total that include approximately 65.31 acres that are located off McMurray Road. On the map to the right, you'll see the subject property highlighted in yellow, and the red in that area are also satellite annexations. The contiguous city limits does not go out that far. I will also note the kind of the greenish line towards the top was the Upper Road Planning District that was previously established. Here are the motions for approval, denial, and also the annexation plat, if you all would like to see that, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? All right. Madam Clerk, has this public hearing been advertised in accordance with general statutes?
Yes, Mayor, it has.
We will open this public hearing. Is there anyone wishes here present wishes to comment on the annexation of the Blue Ridge Commerce Center? Yeah.
Lynn Williams, Chadwick Avenue. I just have to say that this project is a huge eyesore, and it pains my heart every time I look at it to see our agricultural land completely destroyed and the entire place regraded and everything destroyed in the environment. It just, yeah. And so yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else here who wishes to comment? Is there anyone online who wishes to comment?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay. All right, well, we will close that public hearing. Council, discussion or a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move City Council adopt an ordinance of the City of Hendersonville to annex non-contiguous property owned by Asheville Industrial Owner LLC and Asheville Industrial Owner 2 LLC, identified as pins 9588-31-1844, 9588-22-8495, okay, 9588-23-3192, 9588-13-8975, and 9588-23-9432, finding that the standards established by the North Carolina General Statute 160A 58.1 have been satisfied, and that the annexation is in the best interest of the city.
Is there any discussion? Not? Those in favor of annexation of Blue Ridge Commerce Center, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it, and that has also been annexed. Thank you. Another public hearing. This is a rezoning, a standard rezoning at 2511 Asheville Highway.
So I am doing a poor stand-in for Alexandra Hunt, but we, as staff, would request that this public hearing be opened and continued to the July, I'm sorry, I don't know the date, July 6th City Council meeting. The final plat for a lot line adjustment associated with this rezoning is being recorded and will be recorded between now and then. So we'll be able to do that rezoning at that meeting.
Okay. Do I need to open the public hearing, or can I?
Yes, ma'am. You would open it, and then we need a motion to continue it to July 6th at 5:45 here in the Operations Center.
Okay. Someone like to, well, we will open the public hearing, and then if someone will make that motion when we're ready. Madam Clerk, has this public hearing been advertised in accordance with general statutes?
Yes, Mayor, it has.
All right. Someone want to make a motion?
Madam Mayor, I motion to continue this public hearing until our meeting on July 6th at 5:45 here in the Operations Center.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion? Not. Those in favor of continuing this public hearing until July 6th, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it, and we will take this up again when all the paperwork has been satisfied. All right, new business, utility billing policy discussion.
Mayor Volt, members of City Council, I will defer this conversation to Councilmember Smith, who requested to put on the agenda, but Finance Director John Buchanan is in the room and he can answer questions. So I'll let Councilman Smith start, and then we'll be prepared to answer questions.
Who has the figures? Remember I asked we talked about it yesterday.
For this, so we,
That one particular,
so,
and then as an example.
So we have, this issue was brought forward related to, we had a customer in our utility system that we discovered that we had not been billing for sewer since they have owned the property. It was approximately 9 years. And we back billed that customer for just over $1,200. which would result in about an additional $51 additional payment in addition to their monthly bill for the next 2 years to make full payment of that back bill. And so that customer brought that concern to Councilmember Smith. I know in previous months, Councilmember Hensley has had a similar concern brought to her, maybe other council members, as it relates to our back billing policy. So maybe, John, if you don't mind, talk about what the policy currently is and how we do when we discover either in the favor of the customer or in the favor of the city, what our current policy is as it relates to bill discovery.
So currently, whenever we locate something that has not been billed or has been underbilled for a period of time, we go back, review everything, determine at what point it started, and per our current ordinance, we bill for 2 years if the customer owes the city that amount of money. So whether the issue extended 10, 15, 20 years, we only bill for the previous 2 years forward to that point. If it's an issue the other way where the city has overbilled, we refund the entire amount for whatever period that is.
So that is our current policy that we provide to our customers.
My turn.
Your turn.
So just a little bit of the story. So this customer, a customer went to the water and sewer department and was like, what is this thing? And was complaining. And they were like, well, this is the city ordinance. Well, who can I complain to? And they said, well, city council. And they gave them a list of city council names and email addresses, and I happened to be the one that got the email, I guess. So that's how I got involved with this particular issue. And I will admit that the one that was brought to my attention was as a single parent. And so $50 more a month is, that's money. And talking to the person, and I know this has happened to other people, they were like, look, I had no idea I wasn't paying it. I didn't know. I mean, I was paying the bill every month. I didn't know that it was not in the bill. And so that's why I was like, yeah, you're right. I can appreciate why you would be upset when you thought you were paying your bills. So I just came tonight with a suggestion of we reduce it to 1 year that we would charge back billing, or we just don't charge. So I can appreciate the fact that people should be paying for the services they're getting, but I can also appreciate that in particular, this particular, most people, including myself, I just say, pay bill. I'm not paying attention really that much to if I'm not being charged sewer or I am being charged sewer. So there's nothing in this situation that was brought to my attention fraudulent at all. Zero. So I can appreciate if somebody's fraudulent, they're gonna get charged. And, if they were, I don't know how you could do that, but if they could. So that was what I would have proposed to come to council about, is we switch it to 1 year. Or we don't do it at all, but I'm okay with 1 year. I just think 2 years, I think it puts the onus on us to fix this problem now and figure out as quickly as possible how many people are not getting billed for whatever they're supposed to be getting billed for.
Yeah, I had a similar situation a few months ago, and I think we looked at some maps. There was some land deed weird thing with the property.
It was an annexation that was outside of the norm.
And it was, it was a young family, still a couple $1,000s, and I just do not agree with doing that. For me, like, I own a business, and if I don't bill my patients appropriately after a certain period of time, I feel like that's on me. And so I completely agree with going to a year. And I think too, like, again, you get a bill, you assume that the bill is correct. And then also I think people don't really line item their bills. So, oh wait, is the water service fee or stormwater, people don't really know if that's all included, or, I could see how it would be confusing to someone who didn't line item their bills and call and say, what's this fee for? What's this fee for? Should I be paying more fees? Nobody would just question that. So I'm glad you brought it up. I was pretty fired up a few months ago when it happened, so I'm happy to hear more backup.
Well, particularly for people that are actually paying their bills every month, right?
Right.
You know, it's not like they're trying to avoid
No,
paying
they're
bills.
not skirting the city
Yeah.
by not paying bills. They just didn't know exactly what they were not paying for.
And I recognize that on the flip side, if we overcharge them, we refund all that we overcharge them. So I realize that we are being good government by doing that.
I'm in favor of moving it to 1 year.
Okay.
I'm in favor as well.
Madam Mayor, I move the city council directs it.
May I
Oh, sorry.
talk about it just a little bit? So, in actuality, what you're actually doing is you're lowering the statute of limitations that we can collect. And so that takes an ordinance amendment, so I recommend that we draft the ordinance amendment and bring it back to you. And then the other thing is that we don't have any policy in place, 2 years, or any other policy in place for any other enterprise fee. So for waste collection, or the stormwater fee, or what else? I guess that's it, right? Anyway, so my question would be, do you want this to apply to all of our billing for fees?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what John and I can do, John B. and I can do, is prepare an ordinance amendment and bring it back at your next meeting to make that happen.
The Outer Banks reference. John B.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that for us. All right. Next item is formation of Community Advisory Committee for the Comprehensive Plan.
You're a lot of different people today, Lou.
Yeah.
Another poor stand-in. I'm excited to talk about this one. Mr. Manley had an opportunity at the last minute to attend a conference today in Charlotte on smart growth. So good training opportunity and getting his AICP credit. We wanted to introduce to you all one of the primary recommendations. We're getting into the process of outreach and public engagement for the 2045 Comprehensive Plan with our consultant Bolton Mank. And one of the key groups that's a part of that is a Community Advisory Committee. They won't meet for the first time until into August, but they will meet a total of 3 times currently as scheduled. There will be, and I'll talk a little bit about this in a minute, a variety of other public engagement opportunities, but this is a key core group of between 12 to 15 community members. And Bolton Inc., from their experience, and this is included in the agenda package, propose a sort of spread of sectors that you're looking to see represented on this committee. Obviously, there are more sectors than there are spots on the committee, so you're looking for folks that maybe bring expertise and knowledge from a variety of segments of the community. Basically, this is the opportunity to provide that to you. What we would look to do is perhaps at the July workshop or even at the August formal council meeting, bring back a slate of candidates to be appointed to this committee and to be a part of that process moving forward. So really, this is just an introduction and a chance to kind of bring some awareness to the 2045 Comprehensive Plan and all the fun stuff that we're going to be doing here over the next 8 months to 12 months on that project. A couple of other things I'll note, just we will have Bolton Mank and the team coming for their initial visit in the next couple of weeks. And then as we get into the latter part of June, we'll be looking at doing some targeted virtual stakeholder interviews and really getting into the public input survey and that aspect of things as we move into the month of August. Between end of June and August, you'll also see the comprehensive plan website launch along with additional information about opportunities and ways that you can provide feedback on the project and work with us as we begin to develop the recommendations in that plan. So Appreciate the opportunity to talk about this, and you'll be hearing more from Matt about it moving forward. But we want to make sure that as we move into the latter part of July, we're really starting to develop this community advisory committee. Yes.
It's not currently on the list of the composition, so I would like to see either an environmental sustainability board member or Caitlin, the sustainability manager, be a part of this committee.
So staff, particularly like Caitlin, will likely be involved in the internal staff team, basically the project management team. So I would see staff from, and I'm not saying that she shouldn't also be a part of this committee, if that were council's desire, but just to make you aware that staff team members will absolutely be very involved via the project management team, which will likely be meeting with the consultant on a perhaps bi-monthly basis at the least. So just note as it relates to staff members in particular, the Community Advisory Committee is perhaps a little more intended to capture an environmental sustainability board member or other members of the community that might not have an opportunity to be at the table for the comp plan otherwise. Yes.
Can we put that up on the screen, this screen? Moment, the composition group?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Allison, can we
Looks-
put
Allison made
that
it
list?
magic.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Maybe a little bigger?
You can't see that?
And I would note, we sort of filled out some potential
go.
organizations. We would encourage your all's feedback on that too. We're just throwing some names on there to prompt some thinking about it.
So this is a comment I was going to offer to council, and that is, we don't normally, we don't do district elections in Hendersonville, it's at-large voting. But it does seem to me that there is a geographic side of this to reach out and attract residents from different parts of the city. Because I know, like, where I live, people have different concerns than, for example, someone who lives off Upper Road. It's just, there's just different things happening. I'm not sure how to quantify that into this list of people. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I guess you probably could divide the city in sort of 5 districts. That just seems to be a good number. But having people from who, the only reason they're on this is because they live in this part of the city, I think would be a good thing for this group. And I'm welcome to try to come up with an idea I just discussed this with John yesterday, an idea of how to quantify that on here. So, I don't know. I know we have neighborhood leaders. If there was a way to say, okay, we need a neighborhood leader from, and actually, because of the other ones listed on here, we might actually accomplish that with the other folks that we have up there. But I do think it's important that we have at least one person from different parts of the city that may view the growth of the city differently because of where they live.
So if it's okay with council, we'll be glad to take that as direction and guidance, and as we are putting this list together, being very mindful that we have equals representation and spread out throughout the city. If that's the consensus of the council, happy to do that.
I have another question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the term to use, but we'll call them citizen input meetings. Maybe that was the term you used. Are they all going to be here? In other words, are we going to have them have those type meetings also in different places around the city?
So we've talked about doing pop-up, interactions, both via some of our existing events that will be taking place during the course of the summer. There'll be an online option. I think we're still developing the outreach, but I don't think the intent is for that to only be, in this building.
Okay.
And if the guidance is something along the lines of the council,
Well, I'll just share with council, I
sessions.
do think for something like this, if we were to, strategically have these input meetings at, I guess like a church or a cafeteria, I don't know how well attended they would be, but I know when we try to do our council conversations, that's exactly what we try to do. And I think this is the exact type of thing that we should try to model that.
Well, I think it should be in different places and at different times.
Yeah. Just to try to get, at least we have gone to different parts of the city, maybe we'll attract someone to come who would never walk in this building right here,
Yeah.
because for some people are intimidated about this.
Well, it could be part of the council conversation, telling the
I think
chief.
it's, so we normally do those in September, I think, in October. Would that work? The time frame there, Lou?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we'll be probably beginning as we move into that time frame to develop content, but we'll still be, the public input survey is intended to be open through the end of October. So we'll be, the intent would be that we're still collecting feedback from the community throughout that time frame. And then that would be a wonderful way to take advantage of energy and effort. Yeah, I'm always hesitant because I'm going to look over to the booth and Allison and say, how are we going to do some of these outreach things? And they're going to talk to me about the best way to do that, and I'm going to listen.
I don't think we would, I don't think Allison would object to having a built-in theme for the council conversation. So,
2 thumbs up.
All right, any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Can be perusing that list and come up with names. All right, boards, commissions, committee appointments.
So many.
You have a lot. So we can just go through, find the right piece of paper here. Okay.
I apologize, my computer's getting ready to make a noise again. I need a new one.
Well,
how may I assist?
somewhere I saw a,
I had a really
There's
hard
the letter.
time finding that list the
yeah,
second time.
that's the list I was looking for.
Yeah.
Let me find that.
I
That's
had a
in
hard time
here.
finding it again too, so.
This is, you're looking for the letter or the memo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The latest one.
It disappeared in my
There you
email.
go.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go. It's on the
That's what I'm
screen.
trying to find
We
here.
can share if you'd like.
Trying to see here.
So that was
Yeah,
sent on 5/31 at 1:23 PM.
Okay, it's in this one, if it'll open up. All right, finally found it. Thank you. Okay, we have, just start on down, ABC Board, we have 1 vacancy ending June 30th, 2023. 1 application from Ken Calhoun, who is currently serving and is seeking to be reappointed.
Madam Mayor, oopsie, sorry.
Yep.
I move to nominate Ken Calhoun for the ABC Board.
Okay. Ken Calhoun has been nominated for the ABC Board. Are there further nominations? Not. Those in favor of appointing Ken Calhoun to the ABC Board for a full term, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it, and he is appointed, reappointed. Thank you. Okay, Animal Services Advisory Committee. We have 3 vacancies ending June 30th, 2023. 1 of the vacancies needs to be a veterinarian. Now, I know there was some discussion about that.
So
You had, the speaker had commented on that.
Yes, it says that they can, but you could vote to revise the charter so that it's a veterinarian or other animal services professional, because they've had trouble recruiting a veterinarian to serve, and so I would recommend that you do that.
Can we do that tonight?
You can make a motion to revise their charter to say a veterinarian or other animal services professional.
Okay, so that would probably be the first item we would need to do. So would someone like to make that motion?
Madam Mayor, I move to modify the Animal Services Advisory Committee charter to include one position for a veterinarian or other animal services professional.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion? Not. Those in favor of revising the Animal Services Advisory Committee charter, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Ayes have it, and that has been revised. Thank you. Okay, now, one of the vacancies, a veterinarian or animal service professional.
Madam Mayor, you
Yes.
can move Angela Prodrick into that position now if you'd like, because I would consider her to be an animal services professional as the executive director of the Humane Society.
Okay.
So that would open it up for the vacancy, then anybody else could fill that vacancy.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion?
Madam Mayor, to that part, okay. Madam Mayor, I move that we change Angela Prodrick's designation on the committee to be the veterinarian or animal services position.
And to appoint her for the...
Oh, sorry, and to
that
appoint
term.
her in that role. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. Are there further nominations for the veterinarian animal services professional position? Not. Those in favor of Angela Prodrick in the position of a animal services professional, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Okay, we have that vacancy filled. So we have 2 additional spots then. Anyone like to make any other nominations?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Caroline Gunther to fill one of the spots.
Okay, Caroline Gunther has been nominated for a position. Are there further nominations? Not. Those in favor of Caroline Gunther for a position on the Animal Services Advisory Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it, and Caroline has been reappointed. Then we have one more position. Would anyone like to make a nomination?
Madam Mayor, I nominate Mary Ann Pendleton.
Okay. Mary Ann Pendleton has been nominated for a position on the Animal Services Advisory Committee. Are there further nominations? Not. Those in favor of Mary Ann Pendleton, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it, and we've taken care of those slots. Very good. Board of Adjustment. We have 5 vacancies. We have 5 city appointees and only 3 nominees who are, or 3 applicants who are in the city. Okay. Anyone like to make a nomination?
Madam Mayor, I would like to nominate Laura Flores.
Okay. Laura Flores has been nominated for the Board of Adjustment. Are there further nominations? Not. Those in favor of Laura Flores, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Laura Flores has been appointed to Board of Adjustment. Are there additional nominations?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Kathy Watkins and Lynette Oliver.
Okay. Kathy Watkins and Lynette Oliver have been nominated for the Board of Adjustment. Are there further nominations? Not. Those in favor of Kathy Watkins and Lynette Oliver to the Board of Adjustment, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it, and those 2. And we still have 2 more slots that need to be filled on that board.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
Before we move from this board.
Yeah.
I'd like to speak about something that Ms. Beaker sent us an email about today, which is we have spots on this board for people that are from the ETJ, and we are relying on, is that it? Oh, I was reading the email, okay, sorry. We are relying on the county to fill those spots, which may or may not happen. And I would suggest to council that we adopt a resolution, first of all, asking the county to make their determination within 90 days, and that if they don't, that we nominate and adopt, or we approve people who in 100 days would be on the committee absent the county asking the county selecting someone to be on there. How did I do explaining that?
Great. I do want to clarify one thing, though. Since I wrote the email at the time, I thought there were 3 vacancies. There is only, correct me if I'm wrong, there's only an alternate vacancy for the ETJ presently.
Okay.
I didn't know that when we emailed before, so you may want to
Maybe we'll hold off on that.
hold off on that.
Okay,
But just to further clarify, you can appoint if they can't find somebody to serve, and I think that's been the case a lot. You can formally ask them to appoint, and if they don't in 90 days, then you can appoint so that you don't have ongoing vacancies. So, but right now, it's just an alternate.
Okay, all right, so we'll hold off on that for right now.
Yes, but it's a very good point.
Okay, thank you for doing all the work to put this together.
Yes.
All right. So again, we need to be recruiting 2 slots for that board from within the city. Okay, next, Business Advisory Committee. We have 3 vacancies. We have 7 applications, 2 of whom are applying for reappointment.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Sarah Cosgrove.
Okay, Sarah Cosgrove has been nominated. Are there further nominations?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Ken Gordon.
Ken Gordon has been nominated. Are there further nominations?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Fair Wagner.
Fair Wagner has been nominated. Are there further nominations?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Sarah Cosgrove.
Okay, she has already been nominated.
Okay.
Okay. Are there further nominations? If not, Ken Gordon, Fair Wagner, and Sarah Cosgrove have been nominated for vacancies on the Business Advisory Committee. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it, and those 3 are appointed or reappointed. D&I Committee, we have 2 vacancies and 9 applications. Anyone wish to make any appointments?
Madam Mayor, I wish to nominate Eric Gash.
Okay. Eric Gash has been nominated. Are there further nominations?
Madam Mayor, I wish to nominate Richard Regan.
Okay, Richard Regan has been nominated. Are there further nominations? Not. Those in favor of appointing Eric Gash and Richard Regan to the D&I Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Ayes have it, and they are appointed, reappointed. Thank you. Downtown Main Street Advisory Committee, we have need for 3 7th Avenue stakeholders, 2 Main Street stakeholders, and 2 at-large. So we have quite a few people to appoint to this committee. Anyone like to make nominations?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Joseph Dinan for the Main Street seat.
How does he pronounce that?
Dinan, it's.
There's
spelled-
missing a letter.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
okay.
D-I-N-A-N.
Okay. Joseph Dinan has been nominated for a Main Street position. Are there further nominations for the Main Street positions?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Samuel Simmons as one of the, we have to have 2, the other Main Street position.
Okay. Samuel Simmons has been nominated for a Main Street position. Are there further nominations? Not. Those in favor of Joseph Dinan and Samuel Simmons for the Main Street stakeholders, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Ayes have it, and those two have been appointed. We have 3 Seventh Avenue stakeholders.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate John Ryan for 7th Avenue.
John Ryan has been nominated for a 7th Avenue position. Are there further nominations?
Madam Mayor, I'll nominate Chris Cormier.
Chris Cormier has been nominated for a 7th Avenue position. We can do 3. Is there an additional nomination?
Madam Mayor, I nominate Aaron Adams.
Aaron Adams has been nominated for a 7th Avenue position. Are there further nominations? Not. Those in favor of Joseph Dinan, or no, sorry, we already did that one. John Ryan, Chris Cormier, and Aaron Adams for the 7th Avenue stakeholders, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Ayes have it. Those 3 are appointed. And then 2 at large.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Nancy Nykirk.
Nancy Nykirk has been nominated for an at-large position. Are there further nominations?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to nominate Michelle Woodhouse.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
Michelle Woodhouse?
She said Michelle Woodhouse.
Oh, Michelle Woodhouse?
Yes.
Okay. Are there further nominations? All right. Those in favor of Nancy Nykirk or Nykirk? Nykirk?
Nykirk, yes.
And Michelle Woodhouse for at-large positions, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Ayes have it. Those 2 have been appointed. All right. Environmental Sustainability Board, we have 4 vacancies, 2 city residents, 2 at-large. Would anyone like to make nominations?
I have them, I just realized I messed something up. Darn it, we don't have that many city residents that are on this list. Madam Mayor, I would like to nominate Ann Twiggs and Francis Stewart to fill the 2 at-large seats.
Okay. Ann Twiggs and Francis Stewart have been nominated for at-large seats. Are there further nominations for the at-large positions? Not. Those in favor of Ann Twiggs and Francis Stewart for at-large positions on the ESB, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Ayes have it, and they have been appointed or reappointed. We still need 2 city residents.
Yes, Marcia is actually already filling an unexpired term, so I will nominate William Coffey to fill one of the city resident seats.
Before we continue with that,
Yeah.
we only have 2 people to fill the tree board, and I believe that's the same guy, isn't it?
It is the same guy. Is it possible for us to not do a city resident?
We can recruit some more people.
Or vote to modify the charter to change one of the city residents to an at-large position.
I hate to have it more heavily at-large than city residents.
I hate that too, but I
So-
will say that a lot of these at-large applicants are highly qualified.
You could also appoint Ms. Schaefer to a full term and then make the vacancy in the remainder of that unexpired term.
So then that would free up
And we,
an at-large seat. Because the seat she's in is an at-large seat?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'm lost now.
Is she in the at-large seat, Ms. Schaefer?
Do you want to table ESB for now?
You mean further ESB? We've already did some of it, right?
We've done the.
We did the two at large.
Right.
So let's maybe table the two cities and keep moving.
Real quick, Brian just pointed out, we have, his wife is an at-large member, but they technically are in the city. We could move her to a city.
I'm sorry, who is that?
Kelly Polly.
Kelly Polly.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, I move that we change Kelly Polly's membership to a city member
Okay,
of the Board
okay,
of Environmental Sustainability.
okay. Kelly Polly has been nominated to move to a city position on the board. Are there any additional city nominations? Not? Those in favor of Kelly Polly moving to a city position, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Ayes have it, and that has been done, which means we have one more at-large slot that can be filled.
Yes. I would like to appoint Jill Carter to that slot.
Okay. Jill Carter has been nominated for an at-large position on the ESB. Are there further nominations?
Wait, are we supposed to be?
No, that's the old list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is not the correct one. The first three do not need to be reappointed.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's old.
Man,
Okay.
Jerry deserves some sort of an award. Do you know how long she's been on that board?
Since the beginning.
Like, since when I was on the board, which was like, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago, I feel like. It's a long time.
Okay. Those in favor of Jill Carter for an at-large position, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Ayes have it. All right, so we've got that.
Technically, you can be appointed to two different boards, can you not?
You can be,
Technically, you can. I'll admit, I'm not a big fan of that.
yeah.
Okay. Then we'll leave an empty seat.
Just leave it
And
for
the
now.
empty seat that we need to fill is
A city resident seat.
city resident. Well, I don't know Mr. Coffey. I don't know which of these two he would prefer, personally, so I don't know.
Which would be better?
So I've met him a couple times because he's come to the ESB meetings. I don't know if he's come to the tree board meetings. But he does have quite a bit of experience in invasive species, which I think could serve him very well on the tree board.
Well, how about you just, which one we're going to put him on then, ESB or tree board? What would you like to do?
Tree board.
Okay.
Okay, then we'll wait and put him on.
So we have one
City-
opening then for a city resident on the ESB. Correct? You got that right? Okay. Historic preservation, we have one vacancy to fill an unexpired term. And we have 5 applications. Would anyone like to make a nomination to the Historic Preservation Committee?
Madam Mayor, I nominate John Falvo.
John Falvo has been nominated to the Historic Preservation Committee. Are there further nominations? If not, those in favor of John Falvo for an unexpired term on the Historic Preservation Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Ayes have it, and John Falvo has been appointed.
And that one we just did basically is till December.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Planning Board, we have 5 vacancies. And which, these vacancies are, or which, in the city or out of, or ETJ?
In the city, and the same rules apply to the ETJ appointments, and how many vacancies do you have for ETJ, Jill?
3.
Yeah.
But
You do?
But
I'm
all
not sure
5,
about that.
all 5 vacancies are in city appointees?
1, 2. Hang on, double checking.
Okay.
No, we just have 3 that need to be filled.
3 city ones?
3 city. Yes,
And how about ETJ?
because two people resigned off the board and we've had a vacancy.
Okay, so are Tamara and Barbara city residents, or are they ETJ? I know I could look them up, but come on.
So I believe Barbara for sure is ETJ. That's right, and I'm not sure about where Tamara lives. I'm not.
So are you saying 3 need to be city and 2 ETJ?
No,
3 city.
all 3 are city.
It says 5 vacancies.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm assuming we can reapply the people that are, we can reappoint the people that are reapplying.
But we would just
Not
need
if
to
they're
know
in the
which-
ETJ, or can,
The county,
these are for us or for the county?
the county should appoint the ETJ representatives
Yeah.
under
Mine just says
160D.
Hendersonville, though, they all say.
Let's table,
We table that one
let's
till-
table,
Yeah.
it's too important. Let's table it. I assume we got enough to have a meeting though. Okay, let's table planning board and come back to be exactly sure for next
Till we
month.
get,
I do have Barbara is in the, is normally nominated by Henderson County. Tamara is in the city. Tamara Peacock.
Could we do this at our second meeting?
Yes, let's defer this to the second meeting.
let's
Just so
clarify
we get
that one.
Yeah.
All right, tree board, 1 vacancy. And is this vacancy in the city or out of the city, at large?
No, it's 2 vacancies.
Yeah.
1 city, 1 at large. I'm sorry, that's not up there, but on
No,
the
it says 1 vacancy.
no, 1 ends
So
on
it should-
2023 and 1 ends in 2024.
Yeah.
So there are actually 2 vacancies.
Okay, so 1 vacancy ending December of 2023, and 1 vacancy December of '24,
Correct.
and which is city and which is at large. We need to know what we're appointing for.
Is it, as far as the
Yeah,
term, I
which
don't,
term.
yeah, does,
Is the city appointee the one ending in
Is the one ending in 23.
23? Okay, and the at-large is ending in
24.
24?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Let's do the city appointment first.
Madam Mayor, I nominate Will Coffey for the city appointment ending in December 31st, 2023.
Thank you. Are there further nominations? Will Coffey has been nominated. Not? Those in favor of Will Coffey for the city position ending December 31st, 2023. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it. He is appointed. Then we have an at-large position ending December 31st, 2024. Are there any nominations?
Madam Mayor, I nominate Janet Thew.
Janet Thew has been nominated for the at-large 2024 position. Are there further nominations? If not, those in favor of Janet Thew for an at-large position on the tree board, term ending December 31st, 2024. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Ayes have it. I think we're at the end of that, at least. All right. Thank you, and we'll try to fill the rest of that soon. Council, anyone have anything they want to bring up? No? City manager report?
No report this evening, except I will point out that your cash and investment report is attached in your agenda packet.
Okay, and we have no request for a closed session.